my channel. Happy October 2nd. I'm already celebrating Halloween, obviously. Wow, my hair just looks like pretty phenomenal. Today we're doing a voodoo doll makeup tutorial, obviously. I think it turned out really cool. I love the way the stitching turned out, the eyes, and my little heart with my pin stabbed into it. I think it was really fun. This is way out of my normal comfort zone. I don't usually do body art in addition to face, but I feel like I needed it to like complete the voodoo look. So I was feeling pretty good about it. I think it's pretty easy to follow along. I didn't use very much stage or theater makeup because I wanted people to be able to recreate it themselves. So just a tiny bit is theater makeup. The rest of it is eyeshadows, liners, and that jazz. So hopefully you can follow along and recreate this and enjoy, guys. I will see you at the end of the video.
Alright guys, we're going to be using BH Cosmetics liquid foundation in Mocha to create a kind of burlap bag effect. I'm stippling it on with my beauty blender. You do not want this to be uniform, so when you do it, just pat it on in random motions and gently blend without blending seamlessly into the skin. So you want it to kind of look speckled and spotted all over your skin, and you want to make sure that you're getting your neck, your body, and your face in the same amount of product so it looks a little bit uniform in the fact that you're all the same shade. Next, I'm going to go in with Makeup Effects in white. It's a water-based makeup. I used this in my Day of the Dead tutorial if you have watched that. This brand is Smithy's, and you can find it on Amazon. I think it was like $5.99, so super cheap. And I am just putting that all over the high points of my face, so my nose, forehead, tops of my cheekbones. I'm also going to get my chin and my collarbones where it sticks out of my skin. And this will just create the natural contours of the body. I'm also going to get a little bit of my neck and a little bit of my tops of my shoulders as well. Just make sure you make it look uniform and random, if that's possible. Both of those things, please. Keep in mind that this is water-based, so once it starts to dry, it is extremely hard to blend out. Next, we're going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour in the second darkest shade. And I'm going to go over the natural contours of my face where I would naturally use bronzer. You don't want this to be fully blended out either. Just kind of dab it on in the general areas where contour typically goes without blending or being too precise with your movements. Also make sure you get it on your eyes because that is where we're going to be drawing the buttons. So you want to make sure that you are darkening that area already to start with. So get those eye sockets around your forehead, your cheekbones, and also down by your chin to kind of carve that out as well. Go back over until you feel like it looks hollowed out. I also went down underneath my collarbone to hollow that out even more to kind of make those pop just a little bit. And I'm going back in with that same second shade to just make that look. The goal is to look a little bit dirty as well, so don't blend it all the way out. And I'm going to keep going over it and over it until I'm happy with it. Like I said, it's not going to be fully blended, so it's okay if it's a little patchy and spotty. Alright. Next, we're going to go in with the Makeup Effects by Smithy's in black. It's also water-based, and go over those contour areas one more time on your face. This is going to darken it up even more because you do want it to be pretty dark in those contoured areas, but without covering all of the brown that you just put down. And as you can see there, I struggled with the black a little bit. It was super streaky, so I needed to let it dry longer than I did so that the darkness would stay without pulling up the color I'd already put down. So I had to go over that a couple times to make sure that both sides were mostly even, but I really did struggle with that left side of my face. That's me trying to overcorrect it. Next, I'm going in with the cream color from Ben Nye in Blood Red to create my Voodoo heart on my chest. So I'm just going to paint this heart in. You don't need it to look super uniform or perfect, like we said. This is supposed to be messy. This is supposed to be dirty. So it's a really good place to start if you're just beginning to do makeup too, because the lines don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be precise. It's really all about that messy, dirty, grungy look. That is my stipple sponge I'm going through on that Anastasia contour kit with the darkest brown to create that burlap effect. It's really hard to see in the camera here, but when I post the pictures, you'll be able to see it a lot better. But it's stippling around to really make it look like that burlap, which is what the effect was that I was going for. So it stippled just to give it more texture so it wasn't so flat. That is my BH Cosmetics brush with that black paint that we used previously on our contour to start carving out those buttons. It's really hard to get a perfect circle on your eye, but try your best. I don't think I ended up getting a perfect circle, but do the best you can. And you're going to have to let that dry in between coats because, like I said, it's really hard to go on top of itself without pulling up the previous layer. So let it dry and then go back and add more layers to create the blackness that you want. This paint also was a little more gray than black. I wouldn't rebuy it, but it's what I had on hand. So I went in with a couple coats to get it as black as I possibly could. And just, like I said, go over it, but do make sure those layers are drying. And just go over it until you have as good of a circle as you feel comfortable with. As you can see, I went over those edges several times to make them look more circly, but it was difficult to get it into a circle, so don't feel bad if there are more oval buttons than circle buttons. Also, you can see my cats playing in the mirror. I jumped because it looked like a ghost, which was appropriate for Halloween. Alright, so next we're going to go in with Urban Decay's Naked 2 palette in the color Blackout. It's the blackest shadow that I own, and so I just decided it wasn't dark enough, so I wanted to pack that in where it was patchy and really make those buttons super black. Because the blacker the better when it comes to these buttons, because they really are the part of the face that's going to stand out the most. So make sure you're really packing that on. And filling in all of those patchy areas. Next we're going in with the Urban Decay Smoky palette in the shade Whiskey. It's just a dark, cool brown shade that I'm going to be using to start filling in those, what am I trying to say? Filling in where we're going to put the stitches. So this is where the lines of the face are going to meet, like the face is being stitched on the doll. So you want to make sure that you are crossing across your face, and this is disjointed as well. These don't need to be straight, they can be curved. You can make your lines on different parts of your face. You can go all the way across, you could only do half of the face. This is kind of where your creativity gets to shine and do its thing, because you get to decide where these stitches are going to go, where these lines are going to go, and it really doesn't matter where as long as they're there. So I'm taking that little Sigma brush and just shading one side because it needs to look like the burlap is kind of overlapping on your face. So it's got to shade to one side so that looks like the side is covering the other. And so just choose whatever flap you want to be the one on top and then shade underneath or above it. And you're just going to do this same thing totally across all the lines and across the face. Okay, we're going to go back into that blackout in the same little brush that we just used, the eyeliner brush, and really put that as close as you can to that brown line. Don't really shade this out. You just want it to be like a dark black line, 'cause it's going to add more dimension to this, so you want multiple colors to create that depth. Then I'm going to take that same color blackout and kind of dust it along my chest just to carry that black from the face down to my chest so that it all looks like it's on the same doll. Next, I'm going to use a little liner brush, go in with the lightest shade in that Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Cream Kit, and start to sketch out our stitches. I was really random with these. I just kind of did whatever I wanted, alternated between crosses and regular stitches, and didn't want to make this uniform. I didn't want them to be all the same size or thickness, so I kind of just rolled with it and just did what I felt like doing at the time. I didn't plan it out or do anything like that. So just see how you've got your lines going and then do your stitches best according to that. So don't think too hard about this, just kind of throw them on your face, because the more disjointed the better. Okay, we're going back in with the lightest shade in the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit. I'm going to start shadowing the edge of these stitches. You want the stitches to have the shadow at the end so they look like they're pulled taut against the skin. You want to look like there's some tension there, and you also want to give definition on the crosses between which lace is overlapping the other one. So you're just going to take that brown, just put it right at the edges, around the edge of the lace, and then if it's a cross, you want to detail so that you can see which one is on top. Because we're trying to make this look as realistic as possible, and those tiny little details really, really matter, and they really add to your finished look. So the more detail you can put in, the better. And it did take forever to do this. So long. Halfway through this video, I was like, is this really what I want? Did I really want this? But I did, because it turned out awesome. But it took forever. So if you are planning on doing this look, it definitely took me almost 2 hours, start to finish. That's Izzy, my cat. She's a curious little thing. Hi, Izzy. Just wanted to hang out with Mom. She's so cute. She's knocking over all my water. So, adorable and also the worst. So, classic cat. Okay, now I'm going in with the blackout shade from the Naked 2 palette, and at the very edge of each of these laces, I'm adding a little black dot and kind of blending those out to look like a puncture hole where the lace is coming through the burlap. And that's because you want it to look like they have a hole that they're going through and they're not just stuck on the skin, essentially. Like I said, it's these little tiny details that make all the difference with the final look. So even though it's time consuming, if this is really something that you're looking to do, it's worth it in the end. Looks like it's going really fast because I've sped it up by 4. Insane. Okay, back in with that whiskey shade. And what are we doing with it? Oh yes, we're outlining our heart in a disjointed way like we've done everything else, because it's gonna we're gonna stitch around the heart, and you want it to look like it was ripped out and put back on the skin, which sounds really gross, but so is voodoo, I guess. So everywhere that heart line dips, you want to add a shadow. We're also going to stitch part of our shoulder, so kind of bring that line across where you want, or maybe not. I mean, you can do your stitch somewhere else, or maybe not do a stitch down here. But I'm doing mine across my shoulder. Only one side though, and that's mostly because I just was getting tired of shading at this point. Pretty sure this was like an hour and a half in. I was feeling famished. My camera kept dying. Tragic. Apparently I'm not in focus very well here. Don't worry, I corrected it in a minute, but I didn't realize until later. So I do apologize, but honestly it's just adding lines in around the heart and shading. It's not that exciting. You can do it. I believe in you. My nose is sniffly today. I'm going to take a little fluffier brush, go in and try and speed up that shading, basically, is what I was trying to do. Now I'm starting the stitches on the arms and heart. I basically sped through that. You guys saw how I did the stitching before. You're going to do it the exact same way on the heart. I'm just stippling some highlights onto that heart right now. Going back in over those eye sockets with some dark eyeshadow so that we can darken them up just a little bit around the buttons. What are you looking for, Tay? And yeah, just I took the brown shade that time. So first we went in with blackout, then we went in with whiskey. Oh, you can see nicely where that mocha foundation is behind my ear. AKA I am pale AF. Okay, back with that white. And I'm going to start doing the button details. I like screwed this up so badly and had to start over like 4 times. Basically, it's really hard to put dots on your eyes when you keep blinking. But try your best and do what you can. I know it's really hard to get uniform dots. For my pictures that I did of this, yeah, I hated that eye, so I started over. For the pictures that I took of this, I did edit my buttons just a little bit to make them look a little bit nicer because they were a little bit of a mess here, but you win some, you lose some, so my pictures look like my buttons are nicer than they actually are. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. They were alright. Anywho, buttons. Now we're going to be doing, I think, we're doing the pin on the heart. So in voodoo dolls, obviously you stick pins in them to hurt whoever you're trying to hurt. So I wanted the pin going directly through the heart, so I made it a light gray shade. I started off with a white base and then put the grayish black over top of it so that I wouldn't have to mix on my palette. So I just went in over top with that gray to accentuate it, and then I'm going to put the little pin topper in the same blood red Ben Nye cream paint that we did the heart in. At the end of that pin, you can kind of see it there. So we've highlighted the bottom part of that pin, so it looks like there's going to be a shadow cast. And you want to go in with that same little brush that we just used with a little bit of white and highlight that pin just a little. The pin head, mostly. Yep, just like that. And now we're going to create a little shadow at the base of that pin, so it looks like it's actually being stabbed in. And we're also going to do a shadow on the skin because we want the pin to kind of look like it's coming out of your skin, like it's coming out of the chest. So I made a little bit of shadow underneath it. And guys, that's pretty much it.
Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I am hoping this piece is together okay since I had to stop and start over the course of like 2.5 hours. And anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that you are as excited about Halloween as I am. I cannot wait. I have all of my tutorials lined out through the end of the month, so I'm pretty stoked. But if you guys have a specific suggestion, please drop it in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can get my videos sooner than those of you who follow along on my blog. And don't forget to follow my Instagram and Twitter for regular updates on my 100 Days of Makeup Challenge. So, yeah guys, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed and have an awesome rest of your week. Be on the lookout on Thursday for my second tutorial of this week and the 4th installment of my Halloween series. So I will see you guys later. Have an awesome week. Bye guys!